Okay, welcome back everybody. So we just finished unwrapping our little crate. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to create what's called a color map, or a color, I'm sorry, not a color map, a color ID map, which Quixel will use for knowing which parts of this model are which type of material. And then we're going to get our model ready to go into Quixel. So let me go ahead and save this, make sure I've got this saved. So I'll save this as, you know what, I'm going to create a new folder on my desktop, I think. Yeah, let's get out of here because this is about to get really interesting. So on my desktop, well, all right, it's about to get more convoluted. I'm going to create a folder called crate. And let's see, I'm going to put my template inside there. And that's where I'm going to save this as well. And then I'm going to keep this one as like this fallback safety point in case I need it. So I'm going to do a file, save scene as. And let's save it in the crate as. And I'm going to go, I'm going to call it crate because, you know, yeah, why not? Crate underscore MB. And I'm just going to be putting the file extensions right here because that's just going to make it a little bit easier for me to visualize that. You know, sometimes various applications will open multiple things, so I'll just go ahead and do it that way. Okay, so we're ready with this thing. So what we need to do actually is we need to create our color map, our color ID map. I don't know why I keep calling it color map. I wish I quit. In order to do that, I'm going to need another copy of this guy. So let's go to our main view here, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. Now he can keep that material. That's fine. So I'm going to create a copy. So I'm going to go File, Duplicate. I'm sorry, why did I say File? I'm going to go to Edit, Duplicate, or Control D, and you can see that we now have two of these guys, right? One's container 2 and one's container 1. Okay, fine. So what I want to do is I want to kind of put them right on top of each other. Okay, so if I hadn't moved it, it could have stayed where it was, but I did move it. Actually, no, I don't want to put them right on top of each other. I was being dumb. What I want to do is with container 2 over here, I want to give it some materials that are going to go on and be mapped as my material IDs. So let's right click and let's go to UV and UV shell, because that's going to make it really easy to select some pieces here. So I'm going to select that bracket piece, right? I'm going to right click, assign new material, and this is going to be also a Lambert. Nothing fancy with this material. I'm going to call this material bracket. What do you think? Let's call it, I mean, I can either call it what the type of substance that I want it to be, the type of material I want it to be, or I can, you know, name it as an object. Either way, I'm going to call this, and I'm going to use, do I want to use all caps? No, I don't want to use all caps. I'm going to call this rubber, like so, and then just give it a color. And we really want to use like primary colors. We want these colors to really be different from each other. Red, I don't particularly like red because you see how red is the color of something you're selecting. So I tend to stay away from that one. And green, you know, green's fine, but I'm going to go with yellow. Nice. Okay. And then I'm going to select some of these other chunks here. Let's see. Oh, did I not get the middle one? Alright, let's do a right click, assign new material. Once again, it's going to be another Lambert. And this Lambert is going to be, I'm going to call it metal. And give it a color of, I think, blue. Should stand out quite nicely. Okay. Let's see, I got this piece. It looks like I'm missing these pieces in here. I imagine these are going to be metal also. You know what? Why am I doing it this way? I'm making my life more difficult than it needs to be. There we go. Alright, let's come over this way. And let's get this one. There we go. Alright, let us right click assign existing material, and I'm going to assign the metal to it. And kind of just take a quick look, make sure everything has the metal that I want, and they do. Alright, so this is a good start. Now, I'd mentioned maybe having like these sides coming down there kind of look like they're part of the rubber or something as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try that. Or not. I don't know, I'm torn. Yeah, I am. Why not? Let's right click on this, and we're going to go to face, and we'll select that guy and that guy. And there we go. We'll just select some faces here that are doing what I want. Like so. Doink. Nope, not you. Sorry. Okay. Looks good. Oh, missed that one. Missed that one. Alright, let's right click on, woo, not you. We'll right click on that and do a assign existing material. It's also going to be a rubber. There we go. We can kind of see that. Looks pretty decent. And I think this would probably look a whole lot better in the end if these rubber faces here were actually extruded from this instead of being flat on it. But hey, it is what it is. Let's go there. Let's get that one. That one. That one. And that one. There we go. Right click. Assign existing material. Rubber. And browse around this. Let's see what we've got here. Okay. Yeah. I'm tempted to do that whole thing rubber as well. I don't know why, but not that piece. Let's do that piece and that piece. I mean, what if we did? Sure. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I can make that centerpiece rubber. That'd be weird. Yeah. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll come over here and I'm going to grab, I don't know what it, that's kind of more of a gasket than anything else really. Let's grab that, right click, and assign existing material, rubber on that as well. There we go. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and put these on top of each other. So let's go back to our object mode, right click object mode or F8, either way. And the easiest way to do this is Control A, make sure we're in our tribute thing right here. The translate. Translate is our position, our XYZ position. So I'm going to make this position 0 on the Z, and that happens to be the same position as the other thing. So there we go. We're right on top there. Next thing I want to do is I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to go to my outliner, which shows me everything that I've got in this scene, including a bunch of stuff that probably shouldn't be in this scene. Apparently I'm messing around with other things. That's fine, so I'll just delete those. Not that they were doing anything anyway. So there's container 1. You can click it, and we can look at, there you go, 0, 0, 0. And here is container 2, and you can see 0, 0, 0. And remember, container 2 is the one we actually just put those materials on. So yeah, this is just kind of weird. It's just the way it is. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. Alright, so we've got those. I'm going to go ahead and select everything here. I'll just box select everything. And we're just going to do some double checking just to make sure that they're lined up before we project this color ID onto it. So let's go to modify. I'm going to go ahead and delete my history. Actually, it's not in modify. It's in edit, delete by type, history. Alright, then I'm going to go to modify, where I'm going to go ahead and freeze my transformations. and which is basically just locking those in there. And I'm going to go ahead and do a center pivot, which is just they both have the exact same pivot point right now. Okay, so with that done, let's go to our rendering option. So right up here in this top left where it says modeling, let's click down and select rendering. And then we're going to go to our lighting and shading and transfer maps. And these are all the maps we have, and you can see currently there are 2 target meshes. So let's just get rid of those and bring up our, where to go, Windows, bring up our outliner again. Okay, so I will select container 1 is going to be my target mesh, like so. Container 2 is going to be my source mesh, like so. Scroll down. We are going to make a diffuse. Let me remove that. So it should look like this the first time you're in here, and we're going to make a diffuse, and I get a diffuse color map. File type. Well, let's just say where we're going to go here. Let's go to our folder. Where do we want to save this? See, I'm in my crate. I'm going to call this color ID. All caps, makes it stand out a little bit. Color ID. And I'm going to save this particular thing as a TGA because I like TGAs. So I will save that. Let's scroll down a little bit more. Connect maps to shader. No, that's not really necessary. What that would do is this new map we're making, it would automatically assign it to our shader, our material on container 1. It doesn't need to do that. Maya common output size 1024 1024, good. Needs to match our template. All of these kind of need a match. Sampling quality, we can go any one of these. I tend to run medium or high. Low probably works fine, but I'm just weird about it. So I just run medium or high. So I'm going to go ahead and run medium. Everything else here should be okay. Filter type, Gaussian triangular box. We should be okay with this. Alright, so let's go ahead and I'm going to bake this, and it's going to take a couple minutes, so I'll pause the video while we're baking it. And let's do our bake right there. Okay. Alright, so it didn't take too terribly long, but we just finished baking that out. And I can tell that something baked. If I go into this folder, I have this color ID thing. And if I go on into Photoshop, I can even take a look at what that color ID thing might even possibly be. So I'll grab color ID and drop it over here. And there you go. There you can see it. Now there are some issues with this that I can kind of see right away, and these might be issues with the template, with the model itself. But let's see. See, I don't like the yellow out there. I would just like the yellow where I want it to be. You know what? Let's throw our template onto this and kind of see how we look. So I'm gonna grab my template from over there and throw it out here, not as a new image. That was pointless. Oh great, my template only did one thing because I was in the wrong mode. Okay, I'll fix that. I'll make a new template here. Let me get back into Maya. Alright, so back in Maya, so you see we baked something out, so I'm going to close that. Container 2, I'm going to dump you. I'm done with that. So I've just got container 1. That's cool. Let me go back into the UV editor and fix what I messed up. Oops, go to modeling. Modeling, UV editor. Okay, now the whole thing's selected. Now we'll do a polygons. It's amazing how many times that gets me. Let's go to our desktop, create, and I'm going to call it a template, save. Yes, I want to replace it. Everything's fine. Let's do an OK. OK. Let's close that. Alright, so let's just kind of double check our layout here. Okay, so here's kind of what I'm looking at as I'm looking at this here. Let me zoom in here. So go back here. I would kind of prefer this yellow to be a little bit straighter. Over here on this side, oops, Zoom in a little bit more on this. I would like the yellow to go all the way up to the edge there of my template of that. I'd like to make sure I don't have any yellow going over the template area there. So I might need to do some doctoring on this, and largely this is issues with this model, some minor issues with this model. So you might have to doctor that up some, but what we'll do is we'll go ahead and kind of let you see what this is inside Quixel and kind of go from there so that you can see what it is we're looking at there. Alright, let's go ahead and minimize that. So I'm ready to get this model ready for Photoshop, or ready for Quixel. Now these next couple steps, it's kind of debatable if you really need to do this, but I think it's a good rule of thumb. Game engines and Quixel is kind of going towards we're going to be using this in a game engine anyway. They're going to triangulate everything. So I'm going to go ahead and triangulate this while I'm in here. So I'll go to my mesh and just go ahead and triangulate it. So now it's triangulated, and go to my file and export selection right there. I'm going to export this as an OBJ. All those settings are on. That's cool. Go into my desktop, my crate, and I'm going to call this crate OBJ, like so, and export that selection. And now we have a crate that we are ready to throw into Quixel. So let's do that. Let's pull up Quixel real quick. We're going to jump right into Dedo, and wait, there it is. And so what we need to do here in Dedo is go ahead and assign a mesh. So I'm going to go there, give it a mesh, and the mesh I'm going to give it is on my desktop inside my crate. Crate OBJ, that's my mesh. Make sure that our resolution, this needs to match everything else. So I'm going to drop this down to 1024. That's what we've been using. Double check your export type. For me, I'm going to Unity 5 Metalness workflow. I could go to the Unity 5 PBR spec, which would just be this Unity 5 one there. If you're going to other systems, you can see you have all of these. Now you might ask yourself, well, what's the point? Why do we need all of these? Different systems actually handle PBR materials differently, or PBR textures differently, as far as the what white represents on a metal texture, or on a metal map, for instance. Or is it expected to be in the alpha channel of the albedo, or the alpha channel of a separate map, things like that. So by selecting which outcome system you're going for, you're automatically going to get these things set up the way that you want. So next up is to assign a material ID. So I'll go there, go to my color ID, which is that guy there. And if I had baked out a normal map, which we're going to do that in an upcoming video, where we're going to have a high poly and a low poly model, and we're going to bake the normals and the ambient occlusions and the material IDs, and that's kind of, this is like our entry level mesh thing, and then that one will be our upper level, not really high level, but upper, above what we're currently doing, I guess. Okay, so let's create this, and this is going to go through, Quixel is going to do its thing and make some maps for me. Based off of what it's got there, it's going to load 3Do to give me a preview. Basically it's saying, hey, look at what I did. And we'll see the basics of Quixel, and we'll go into more detail with Quixel and Endo in an upcoming video. So alright, so here I am. So I'm going to go ahead and go 3Do so I can see what I've got, which is my crate. Now as far as movement in here, your mouse wheel zooms in and out. Alt left mouse button rotates. Alt right mouse button zooms in and out. Alt middle mouse button pans. Okay, so basic control there. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I want to go ahead and use that color ID map I did. So I'm going to hold down Shift and C, and here's our color ID map. And I'm going to grab the yellow stuff, and I just clicked on it. Once I did that, it brings up my material system here, and I'm going to go ahead and, I said I was going to do rubber on that. So I'm going to select rubber, and I'm going to go with this dried rubber. create and give it just a second, and it's going to throw dried rubber out there. Now we're going to have to wait. It's still working. There it goes. So you can see our dried rubber out there. All right, let's do a Shift C and let's grab our other section here. And this is going to be metal. Tempered? No, I don't want that. Let's go with painted. No. No. Let's just do this. Eroded painted steel. That's fine. So we'll create that. This is asking us if we want to put this new material inside this same group as the other material. I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and say no. Put it in a different group. And we'll have it here in just a second. And odds are we'll be able to see what some of those color ID issues were that I was so worried about. And there you go. You can see these gray lines here. We don't want those. And basically what's going on is it did not go up to the seam. I needed it to go just a little bit beyond the seam, but I can fix that really easily here in Photoshop. Just load up the color ID map as I did, and then put the color ID map back into this and reassign my material, so not too difficult. Anyway, so there's the basics. So we've got something started. This is, of course, a rough start. But we're going to go on and we're going to add some details to this and do some normal mapping detail to it, but that's not the point of this video. So any questions, just let me know.